Dr. Agyeman-Budu, what's been come watching and pump to say you? Meso me ho eye pa me da se no mra no pay wenya ede amaye se what is amanyofo kika eye agiagefo in fact agiagempanyfo ho nsem on those political lines up send aye na he wo how ebobo man anan mo man
but your man's question here also
na me bisa say what is amanyofo mpanyfo especially obi a wadi president pen na ono so ayi judges dey call eye bench be pen no omo make such pronouncement a sharply divided the judiciary between MPP and NDC nia ya na how entusan so be na wo so
all machibio men mechifo na so first and foremost no obia timi chena dream efa Bibia Kosovo mine and as a man for now politicians and so to meet your madrid. Your freedom of speech there, you're practicing democracy there, or be to meet your dream within the limits of the law and manner. But when it comes to certain individuals, almost hold these certain positions before, you'd expect a certain level of it should be circumspect when about no mean an institution like the judiciary, because you then said judiciary the last point of call for when everything else fails. Into to politicize the judiciary media many or politicize the judiciary and I say good judiciary nobody is saying say the judiciary is perfect, just like every institution is not perfect, but when people who have held positions of trust in the country, to say maybe a former president Mampenia Wabedi or mine so several years, that's who make certain statements in as much as you may be speaking to a particular point because of whatever personal experience when you feel say people take you seriously when you say certain things, and it may not necessarily augur well for our development as a country. My simple answer to your question is a good judiciary almost discrediting judiciary na say can your mind fata ingina so bia ni so no many yadwin
na yen fa no watrasa say yen just sweep it under the carpet, more especially if you obi a why president paying ho eba no when you say no so my yen so bi ma ampa say yen no kra yen hwehwemu hwe say truly say ni pay eye MPP lawyer for then what happened to fairness? Say yes, the nipa bi you mako baby a see nya either regional balance, gender balance, maybe a party crown balance, ebebe mu a enya say say your fam na yetimi gina so de yan hwehwemu na de yan sachira.
The point is, immediately you are appointed to certain positions, say you are appointed as a superior court judge, a supreme court judge. There's an oath of office in tam bia obeka. You swear allegiance to the Constitution and to do right and to do justice, not on the basis of your political affiliation or whatever it is. So regardless of whether or not Ebia Watu Abada and I say we sympathize with a particular party or not, and most people of age Atu Abapeng, Atu Ama one party or one individual or the other. That doesn't mean say Supreme Court judge Oba ho as an appendage of some particular party. No, now say the individual who appointed you onto the bench. Remember, when you are nominated for appointment as a Supreme Court judge, you go through parliamentary approval. Parliament from both sides, and they grill you. They ask you questions. At the end of the day, a decision is taken, and you become a judge, and you are independent. And if we are to go by what some people say because particular party being appointed into Ukowa, we are more bidding into Yensu by the Yensu and Kofoba calls, I bidding. No, if that is how it's supposed to work, then in the 2012 election petition, there was no way that President Mahama should have been declared or the election should have been declared, the election petition should have gone the way it went. Because if you look at the bench on the people who were on the Supreme Court panel, almost decided 2012 election petition, a majority of them were appointed by President Akufo. So if we are saying, say, the party that appointed you will determine the way and manner in which Ube making decisions are, then it means they should have decided, say, there be election and rather no petitioners they claim no the by and say rather no they were validly elected no and also Supreme Court in 2012 no upholding sa position no, but that's not what the Supreme Court did. Evidence na by everything that went on no, they decided that at the end of the day no, President John Mahama's election was valid and he became president, or he was confirmed essentially as president, and he ruled the country till 2016.
Okay.
That it's a simplistic argument to make, say, Obina appointed automatically you are going to rule in the party that appointed you's favor. It doesn't work that way, and honestly, no.
And on accountability bit now, or they can't say no, that is a business. When it comes to accountability, say almost shows somebody accountable until I'm packing the bench with lawyers, you know, it is business.
So what is the meaning of packing the bench with the lawyers? Were they not NDC MPs in Parliament when the parliamentary process of approval was ongoing?
You see, Doc, the only issue social one is a lot of people also think between these two parties, MPP, NDC, part my back, let me part your back works within them perfectly. When it comes to the issue of approval from appointment committee, it goes through easily because OBN is also the same thing.
So then let's hold our parliament to account. That's something I'm not going to be say. I don't think that we as a people, no, we take the democracy as serious as we should take it. Say if Yatnasi, now you say politicians, as our group in Omudi, we more so say number you're nominating for whether good or bad, you pass your. The other party too is in power, almost the same thing, then there's something fundamentally wrong with the system that we're operating. And it's about time the people know you be holding members of parliament to account. That's why I remember some time back I think it's about time that we need to look at our constitution again, specifically provisions now. And President No Quincy also appointed majority of the ministers from members of parliament. And I don't think that and it's part of the reason why we are where we are today. But to the extent, say, that nominate you be before parliamentary vetting committee, with both MPP and NDC agreeing, no. On what basis do you say that people are packing the courts with their cronies, and I say almost packing courts with people and there's no accountability? The accountability is at that point. And if you look at our constitution, we the people, no, still we hold the justice emanates from we the people. Ghana for no, and a justice no if we are. But the judiciary is only put there to deliver it or to administer it on our behalf. So they are accountable to us. That's why there are processes in the Constitution to hold them to account. And so if anybody feels, say, some justices are biased or they've done something against their oath of office, it's not a question of making statements, say, people are packing the courts. Test the constitutional provisions. Judges can be removed from office as well. It's clearly stated in the Constitution. There are processes set out. Who said judge be the oath now or can when this and I say why be just like how a president can also be removed. You can instigate it until we decide to make use of some of these provisions. I don't think it's fair to bastardize the judiciary on the basis and also are you trying to suggest say let's assume for the sake of argument say will be packing courts with the person's party people, just for the sake of argument. Are you now saying as a statesman and someone who is aspiring for the highest office of the land again, say unso ba sa na unso be adia o criticize say you're wrong, Miss Meba made the same thing, I'm their balance. Is that what a statesman does?
Okay.
That's my
Okay, and you know, Doc, yeah, sure. If we are to go into the mind of former President John Dramani Mahama, Oju said the end of making this statement. At the end of the fear, at the end of the who is it preparing our minds for something? And I say at the end.
Mean to me, according to the mind of His Excellency.
Yeah, politics, and I did not be sound say, looking at the way I hear politics, you know, it did not be sound say, the way our pronouncements are politicians, just to prepare the minds of the ordinary Ghanaian, no, say, in case of BBC, it bet me I can say any, it's saying, Tina, Uncle Ian Farmer, no.
Yeah, I will come saying, you got to about 2020 elections. So, yet, the amount for kind, abandon your more. And you win the election, no, and into your figures, no, and all that, into your court, which was the right thing to do because constitution, man, quite say, would you say, Abana Uncle ya, Ubetimako Supreme Court, and so yeah, movie, or Mubetimia declares indeed Abana Uncle ye. We all witnessed what happened from January to about March or April 2021. Election petition na course no. The petitioner na omode petition no koye no. Not one single shred of evidence the court say indeed abano they won like they said they did. Ekoye dani bibi una bi afeni hu the head and tail of it. Ewie na say NDC call omo national executive elections. Yet today, some of the things their former general secretary and now chairman said in some audios that came on, say, Adenukra in Jinasobia, some of your friend is saying, the Supreme Court, but say, politics, there's so to me can be bishop or supporters in crime. Omokoya asked for a ride, wasted 3 months or so of our time and all that. I don't know what's going through anybody's mind.
Okay.
But maybe it's just politics as usual as we've done it in Ghana. And I think it's about time that we stop doing our politics that way. And I think we the people don't say that kind of politics, because every time that we criticize our leaders, say the leaders say I can say, and now your leaders say no. The leaders know, where do they come from? Do they not come from amongst us? So it is symptomatic of yenye behavior. And they are not doing anything that is different from what we would probably do if we are there, because they come from amongst us and we put them there. So it's about time, say, we look at ourselves and try and hit the reset button or see that the things that we're doing, let me continue to do it the same way and expect different results.
Right.
And that's what I would say.
Right. Finally, Dr. Budu, Mr. Sir, Obe recommend constitutional review. Biana constitutional review. Ebema young man penino appointed judges. A crime person that can find a wide women. Kebe ye a command penny and who war judges appointed. Ebema form.
There's nothing wrong with man penny nominating. Remember, man penny now or appointed judges per se or nominating omo. And then on the advice of the Judicial Council or the Council of States, depending on which category of judges are all nominated. And then it has to, with the prior approval of Parliament. So technically speaking, Parliament is the critical institution that has to play that role in ensuring that the right persons are put in certain offices. In terms of advocating for any change, I'll still go back to what I told you the other time. We need to strengthen Parliament. We need to remove this idea of being an MP and being a Minister of State. If you want to be an MP, go there specifically to do MP work.
Right.
If you want to be a minister, to stay on the wings and hope that your party wins and that you can find favor in the eyes of the appointing authority. Now you're a minister. No, you're a minister. Don't be a minister and be a member of Parliament. In my opinion.
Right.
And I think it's about time we go back to the 1979 Constitution, which had a clear separation between members of Parliament and ministers of state. And even that, their terms of office overlapped in the sense that whereas the president or the executive under the 79 Constitution had a 4-year term of office, I think Parliament was 5 years or so. So there was always an overlap in terms of elections,
right,
and in terms of when elections take place for MPs and when it takes place for the president and all that. I think it would strengthen a best strengthening institution as Parliament, because would know say you call say you beholding the government to account, and we are there in the interest of our constituents and of our people, and not necessarily the party that puts us there. And I think if we are able to solve it, it doesn't matter which president that we have, the parliament will be a strong institution that will be able to hold the executive to account, and we won't have some of the issues that we are having.
Right. But that's a point where there I'll support you with 1,000 bags of cement. Now you're solid. But that's it.
Sending the moment.
But that's a doc and they won't ready to show my demand pay. I was there. I always intriguing engaging. You know, I mean, I learn a lot from Nehemiah. I would say, but that's a paranormal opening.